In 9 days, an unpolished video clip of a 47-year-old woman went viral, amassing over 100 million views. Not a polished music video, not an industry-backed performance, but a grainy recording of Susan Boyle, a woman from a small village in Scotland, singing a song in front of an audience that had already written her off. It was the kind of talent that the entertainment world is designed to ignore. Too unconventional, too old, and too different. Susan Boyle, for most of her life, had embodied the reasons the world never gave her a chance. But when her moment finally came, it broke records and hearts, and the world was forced to reckon with the incredible voice that had been invisible for so long. The journey begins in Blackburn. Susan Boyle was born on April 1st, 1961, in the small town of Blackburn, West Lothian, Scotland. The youngest of 10 children, she entered the world facing immediate struggles. The birth was complicated, and Susan suffered from oxygen deprivation, leading to what doctors later described as minor brain damage. While this diagnosis would follow her throughout her life, it was also something the world never fully understood. Susan struggled in school, learning differently from her peers and facing constant bullying. Children called her names like Susie Simple, a cruel label she carried with her for years. Despite these difficulties, Susan found solace in one thing: music. It was a safe space where she could express herself without fear of judgment, and it became her sanctuary in a world that didn't seem to understand her. A mother's support. While the world around her was full of rejection, Susan found strength in the love and support of her mother, Bridget. Bridget was a deeply devout Catholic woman who saw her daughter not as someone to be pitied, but as someone with immense potential. She encouraged Susan to sing publicly and was a constant presence at local talent shows. In church halls and community centers, Susan performed, but the audience often cared more about their own conversations than the woman at the mic. Despite the lack of recognition, Susan kept going. Music was not just a hobby, it was a lifeline. As she grew older, Susan began to dream of something bigger, but even as she tried to take her talent beyond Blackburn, the world remained indifferent, a world of rejection. Throughout her 20s and 30s, Susan made several attempts to break into the music world. She recorded a demo in 1999 and submitted it to a talent competition, but was rejected. She participated in local talent shows, but each time she faced the same quiet dismissal. She was told she was too old, too plain, and simply not what the entertainment industry was looking for. For Susan, the harshest part was not the dramatic rejections, but the slow, consistent realization that the world had already decided who she was, and she didn't fit into any of its categories. The entertainment industry had no place for her, and Susan returned home to Blackburn each time a little more invisible than before. A life of caregiving. As Susan grew older, life seemed to quiet around her. In 1997, her father, Patrick, passed away, and Susan became the primary caregiver for her aging mother. Bridget, once Susan's greatest champion, became increasingly reliant on her daughter. Susan, with no partner or children of her own, stayed in Blackburn, quietly caring for her mother. While the world continued to move on, Susan's life remained small and consistent. In 2007, when her mother passed away, Susan found herself alone for the first time in her life, living in the same council house where she had grown up. At 46, her career was non-existent, and her voice, though remarkable, had never been heard on a larger stage. Viral sensation. The audition video was uploaded to YouTube, and within 9 days, it had been watched over 100 million times. Susan Boyle, a woman who had spent 47 years in the shadows, was suddenly the most famous person in the world. The media storm that followed was unlike anything Susan had ever experienced. For the first time in her life, the world was paying attention. The attention was overwhelming. Susan returned to Blackburn, trying to process the fact that her face was now seen around the world. It wasn't just her voice that had made her famous. It was the story behind it. The world had underestimated her, and in doing so, had missed something truly extraordinary. a sudden surge of fame. In the weeks that followed her audition, Susan's life changed drastically. Interviews with major television networks, appearances on morning shows, and articles in newspapers flooded in. A publicist, a manager, and a team of advisors were quickly assembled to help manage the intense media attention. The world had decided that Susan's story was a fairy tale, and it quickly became one of the most compelling narratives of the year. Susan's every move was scrutinized, and she was thrust into the spotlight with little preparation. Fame, for most people, is a slow process that allows time to build defenses. For Susan, it came in a tidal wave, and she found herself drowning in it. The price of being seen. The swift rise to fame, though exhilarating, was not without its challenges. Susan Boyle had spent nearly 5 decades invisible, and now she had to adjust to a life where her every word, every movement, was watched by millions. The media buzzed around her, offering praise and questioning her every decision. The pressure to live up to the expectations of a global audience was immense, but even as her world exploded into chaos, Susan's heart remained in Blackburn. She was a woman who had dreamed of being seen for her talent, not her appearance, and suddenly, the world had taken notice. The true price of fame is never just the attention. It's the loss of privacy, the constant scrutiny, and the sense that you no longer belong to yourself. Finding her voice. Despite the overwhelming attention, Susan Boyle never lost sight of the gift that had carried her through years of obscurity. Her voice. It was the one thing that had always been hers, the one thing that had remained untouched by the world's judgment. As she continued her journey into fame, Susan stayed grounded by the same values that had sustained her for years. Her story became a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of never giving up on your dreams, no matter how long it takes or how impossible it seems. Susan Boyle's rise to fame wasn't just about the viral moment, it was about the decades of silence that preceded it, and the power of being heard when the world least expected it.